Welcome back to Rapture Tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and get ready for another story you won't forget. Let's dive back to the story. Emily Hart opened her small provision shop before sunrise each morning, her routine shaped by years of quiet endurance. The bell above the door chimed softly as she stepped inside, breathing in a familiar scent of soap, flour, and canned goods. Her life revolved around careful measurements, counting stock, counting coins, counting dreams she rarely spoke aloud. At home, her frail mother depended on her for everything, and Emily never complained. Sacrifice had become second nature, something she wore as easily as her worn cardigan. Despite the weight of responsibility, Emily carried a secret hope. Hidden beneath loose floorboards in her bedroom was a metal savings box filled with neatly folded notes and coins. Every spare pound went into it. She dreamed of attending a prestigious modeling academy, not for glamour, but for escape, a chance to rewrite her story. Each night, after tending to her mother, she would touch the box and imagine a different future, brighter and freer. The shop barely made enough to survive, yet Emily gave kindness freely. She believed generosity returned in unseen ways. She smiled at struggling customers, extended credit when she shouldn't, and often went to bed hungry herself. She didn't know that this habit of compassion was quietly preparing her for a meeting that would change everything she thought she knew about loss, love, and destiny. One cold afternoon, Emily noticed a thin boy standing outside her shop, his eyes fixed on a loaf of bread through the glass. He looked no older than 10, his clothes oversized and worn, his shoes barely holding together. When their eyes met, he flinched, ready to run. Instead of turning away, Emily opened the door and gently asked if he was hungry. The boy hesitated before nodding. She prepared a simple meal and watched as he ate with restrained urgency, as if afraid the food might disappear. His name was Oliver Hartley. He spoke little, answering questions politely but vaguely. Emily didn't push. Something in his eyes told her he carried stories too heavy for a child. When he finished, he thanked her with a seriousness that made her chest tighten. From that day on, Oliver came back. Every afternoon, always polite, always grateful. Emily fed him without expecting anything in return. Over time, he began helping, sweeping floors, arranging shelves, watching the shop while she ran errands. Laughter slowly crept into the small space. Without realizing it, Emily had begun to look forward to his presence more than the day's earnings. Though Oliver grew more comfortable, he never spoke about where he lived. When asked, he shrugged or changed the subject. Emily sensed fear behind his silence. One evening, after closing the shop early due to rain, she followed him from a distance. Her heart ached as she watched him disappear into a crumbling, roofless building at the edge of town. The discovery haunted her. That night, Emily cried quietly so her mother wouldn't hear. The idea of a child surviving alone, exposed to cold and danger, filled her with helpless anger. The next morning, she packed extra food and waited for Oliver. When he arrived, she gently told him he was no longer alone. Her voice shook as she said it. Oliver didn't respond immediately. His eyes filled with tears he fought to hold back. He nodded once, stiffly, as if accepting something fragile. From then on, Emily's care deepened. She packed meals for him, bought him clean clothes when she could, and treated him not as charity, but as family. Life settled into a fragile rhythm until the morning everything shattered. Oliver was running toward the shop, waving excitedly, when a car came out of nowhere. The impact was sudden and brutal. Emily screamed as she reached him, her hands shaking as she pressed him against his bleeding head. The car sped away, leaving silence and horror behind. At the hospital, hours blurred together. Doctors spoke in calm, practiced tones, but their words hit like blows. Oliver needed immediate surgery. The cost was staggering. Emily felt the room spin when she heard the figure. It was the exact amount she had saved over 3 years. Every sacrifice, every delayed meal, every abandoned comfort. Emily didn't hesitate. She ran home, tore open the floorboards, and emptied the savings box into her bag. As she handed the money over, her hands trembled, not with regret, but resolve. Dreams could wait. A life could not. Sitting by Oliver's bedside later, she whispered that everything would be all right, even as her own future slipped quietly away. Oliver survived. Recovery was slow, painful, but hopeful. Emily rarely left his side. When he finally opened his eyes, his first word was her name. She smiled through tears, holding his hand as if letting go might undo the miracle. The doctors called her remarkable. She felt ordinary, just human. When Oliver was discharged, Emily brought him home. Her mother welcomed him without question, embracing him as if he had always belonged. Their small home grew warmer, fuller. Oliver laughed more, slept peacefully, and slowly began to trust the world again. Emily watched him heal, and felt something inside her mend too. Yet beneath the peace, uncertainty lingered. Emily wondered what future awaited them. She had given up her dream, but gained something deeper, a family she had chosen. She didn't know that unseen eyes were already watching, drawn by a trail fate had carefully laid. One quiet morning, for luxurious black cars pulled up outside Emily's shop, their polished surfaces reflecting the stunned faces of onlookers. Men in suits stepped out, scanning the area. Emily stood frozen behind the counter, fear crawling up her spine. Oliver, standing beside her, went pale. A tall man emerged from the lead car. His eyes locked onto Oliver, filling instantly with tears. He crossed the distance slowly, as if afraid the moment might vanish. When he spoke Oliver's name, his voice broke. He introduced himself as Jonathan Hartley, Oliver's father. Jonathan explained everything. Years ago, an accident. Chaos. Fire. He was told his son had died. He never stopped searching. A chance video online, Oliver helping the shop, had led him here. Emily listened in stunned silence as Oliver clung to her, trembling. Oliver was terrified of leaving. He hid behind Emily, begging her not to send him away. Jonathan knelt, keeping his distance, promising gently that he wasn't there to take him by force. Trust, he said, would take time. Emily watched the exchange, torn between relief and fear. Days passed with careful conversations. Jonathan visited often, respectful and patient. Emily saw his pain, his sincerity. Slowly, Oliver began to open up. The bond between father and son started to mend, fragile but real. Through it all, Jonathan's respect for Emily grew into admiration. When Jonathan learned of the surgery, the sacrifice, the broken savings box, he was shaken. He told Emily she had changed his son's life, and his own. She brushed it off, embarrassed, unaware that her kindness had already rewritten her destiny. Before Oliver officially moved into his father's care, Jonathan made a promise. He would honor the woman who had saved his son. Weeks later, Emily received a letter, full sponsorship to the very modeling academy she once dreamed of. Tuition, housing, everything covered. Emily cried harder than she had the day she gave up her savings. Jonathan confessed that her selflessness had awakened something in him, a feeling he hadn't allowed himself in years. Though surprised, Emily felt a quiet connection she didn't resist. As Emily prepared to leave for training, Oliver hugged her tightly, calling her his angel. She promised to return. As the bus pulled away, Emily looked back, realizing she hadn't lost her dream after all. She had simply taken a longer, kinder road to reach it. Emily's first weeks at the academy were nothing like she imagined. The city was louder, colder, and far less forgiving than her small neighborhood shop. Students walked with confidence she did not yet possess, their movements sharp, their voices certain. Emily felt out of place in borrowed heels and unfamiliar routines, often questioning whether she truly belonged there. Yet every night, she remembered Oliver's smile and the life she had saved, and that memory steadied her. Training was relentless. Long hours, harsh critiques, aching muscles. Some students whispered about her background, surprised that someone ordinary had made it so far. Emily absorbed the words in silence, choosing discipline over resentment. She practiced until her feet blistered, studied posture until her spine burned, and learned to walk not just with grace but with purpose. Slowly, instructors began to notice. Jonathan checked in regularly, never intrusive, always supportive. Their conversations grew warmer, more personal. Emily spoke about her fears, her progress, and the quiet pride she felt in surviving each day. Jonathan listened, deeply moved by her resilience. What began as gratitude slowly evolved into something gentler, stronger, and impossible to ignore. Months passed, and Emily changed. Confidence settled into her voice, strength into her posture. She booked small campaigns, then larger ones. Her name appeared in places she never imagined, yet success never hardened her. She sent money home, checked on her mother daily, and spoke with Oliver whenever he missed her. Fame, she learned, meant nothing without connection. Oliver flourished under his father's care, but his bond with Emily never faded. He proudly told everyone she was his hero. Jonathan watched this with quiet awe, realizing love was not about possession, but gratitude. He admired Emily not for what she had become, but for who she had always been. As Emily's final training period ended, the Academy praised her transformation. She had not just learned to model, she had learned to stand tall in her own story. When she packed her bags to return home, she felt nervous, excited, and unaware of what awaited her. At the airport, Emily froze when she saw them. Oliver ran toward her, laughing, nearly knocking her over with his hug. Jonathan followed, his smile unguarded, his eyes full. The moment felt unreal, like something borrowed from a dream she never dared to imagine. On the drive home, laughter filled the car. Familiar streets welcomed her back, but something felt different. When they arrived, Emily noticed lights glowing warmly through the windows. Inside, the house was transformed, flowers, music, and memories carefully arranged. Her mother stood smiling through tears. Jonathan stepped forward, his voice steady but emotional. He spoke of loss, hope, and the woman who restored his faith in humanity. Then he knelt, asking Emily to build a life with him, not out of obligation, but love. Emily answered through tears, her yes echoing with certainty. That night, as celebration filled the house, Emily slipped outside for a moment of quiet. She thought of the savings box she once broke open, the dreams she once let go of, and the boy she once fed without expectation. She smiled softly, understanding now that nothing had been lost. By choosing love, she had gained everything: family, purpose, and a future brighter than anything she had imagined. Her journey had not been easy, but it had been honest, and in that honesty, life had met her with abundance. Inside, laughter called her back. Emily stepped forward, no longer just a dreamer, but a woman who had turned kindness into destiny, and found a home at the heart of it all. That's all for today. Like, subscribe, and see you in the next episode. Stay tuned.